Alright, hi, and welcome to my channel. My name is Casey, and today's reading is... I'm honestly not quite sure how this reading is going to go because I've never done something like this. My goal here is to help bring closure to people who might not be able to get closure directly from their parents themselves, and that is a very big feat. But to kind of tell you the story of how I came upon this idea is I was literally driving and I don't know what came over me, but I suddenly got this idea in my head for this kind of reading that was like messages from your parents' highest self. And I don't know where that came from, but I know that, I know a lot of people that have a lot of unresolved childhood trauma or unresolved issues with their parents. And specifically, it's like when you try to communicate with them and they just won't listen, they keep saying the same things over and over again, and it's like they're just speaking at you, they're not speaking with you. And I feel like it can be so frustrating when you have these grown adults, people that are supposed to take care of you, people that are supposed to unconditionally love you, that can't let go of their ego to just be honest with you or have an adult conversation with you. And I feel like a lot of people can relate to that. And I thought of this idea, like, what if you could, sit down and have a conversation with your parents' highest self, the version of themselves that's not ruled by ego or fear or ideas of how life is supposed to look or what people are supposed to do. If they could just speak from a place of love and truth and honesty, what would they say to you? And I feel like that's something that could help a lot of people, which is why I wanted to do it. But I also recognize that this is an extremely difficult topic to try to work with, both emotionally and also I've never done something like this, so bear with me if it's hard for me to find the words. I'm very young. I haven't lived a full life, so it's hard to grapple with these topics that transcend generations. You know what I'm saying? But I felt very inspired to do this, and so I'm gonna give it the best shot possible. I'm gonna hopefully do this to the best of my ability. And so if you felt drawn to this reading, if you feel like there are messages here for you, then I encourage you to watch it through, but only, of course, if it resonates with you. I do expect that these piles are going to be very specific, so it might not always apply to a big general audience, so if it doesn't sound like it's perfectly for you, I do plan to hopefully do some more of these in the future if, people are enjoying these, so yeah, stay tuned if that is something that you're interested in. But today's readings, I have 3 different readings for you to choose from. We have pile 1 with the hematite, pile 2 with the malachite, and pile 3 with the black eye agate. So go ahead and pause, figure out which pile you feel most drawn to. I'll leave timestamps down the description box below so you can quickly jump to whichever reading that you want to listen to. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, pile 1. I had to start your reading a little bit early. I'm actually not finished pulling out cards, but I hate crying on YouTube. I actually very rarely cry in these online readings because I'm not as physically close to the people that I'm channeling from. But it does happen occasionally. It happens a lot more if I'm doing readings for people in person. And the only times I've ever cried during a reading was I'm going to tell you why I'm crying because I'm feeling specifically like a mother energy. Coming through very strongly. You can hear it in my voice. I try not to do this because I find it a little bit embarrassing to cry in front of a camera, in front of strangers, but the only times that I've ever cried during readings were in person, doing a reading for my cousin on his father, who is an alcoholic, a drug addict, and I was channeling his father's energy for him, and I cried then. And sorry, it's a very powerful energy that I'm getting coming through for you. The only other time was for a friend in college whose dad he was estranged from, who he had a lot of problems with, who he hadn't spoken to in years, who he just decided to reach out to. And yeah, obviously that was a very strong emotional energy. And I also cried another time during a reading when I was doing a reading for my best friend she has a best guy friend who's in love with her, been in love with her since they first met, years and years and years, and it was unrequited love, and so obviously there's strong emotions there. And so those were when I'm in person doing readings for people. The fact that I'm crying and channeling this energy so strongly for you, who is thousands of miles away, I've never met in person, just goes to show the strong love that this person has for you. And I specifically say mother because I get a very strong mother energy from whoever I'm channeling. And so I think that, I'm going to try to collect myself better, but I had to film this right away while I was feeling these feelings to tell you that, first of all, I want to recommend a book to you. Let me actually go get it because I think that you would really resonate with it. It's called On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous. I haven't quite finished it, but when I tell you I cried like 10 pages into this book. It's about the story of an immigrant mother and her son, and their relationship. And it's the son writing the book to his mother, even though she doesn't read or understand English very well. It's a very heartbreaking story, but I felt drawn to tell you about that because I feel like the relationship that you have with your mother is likely very similar. Okay, so like I said, I still needed to get one more card for you. I like to get all the cards out first so I can really look them over and have my thoughts collected before I go into it. But I felt like I needed to tell you right away what I was feeling and what I was channeling because, in my mind I'm getting mother energy. And I know that it's going to be different for all of you, but I was specifically in my mind holding the image of like a Southeast Asian mother. And like I felt drawn to tell you about that book because the story is about a Vietnamese mother and her son. You don't have to be Southeast Asian, but another thing that's coming to mind is the movie, oh God, what's that movie called? It's so good. It's coming to me. Everything Everywhere All at Once. Oh my God, the way that me and my friends were bawling after that movie, like walking to the car afterwards, I think we cried for an hour afterwards after watching that movie because it really hit home for a lot of us. But I recommend that book and that movie to you because I feel like those are things that are really going to resonate with you. And also that's the kind of energy that I'm picking up on that your story with your parent might be like. And also both those stories revolve around the mother as being the central figure that had the strongest impact on the main characters. So I'm going to go ahead and pause. I'm going to get your final card. I'm going to collect myself, and then we're going to get into what I'm seeing with your cards. Okay. All right. I got your final card. I actually haven't looked at it yet. Usually I will read the guidebook just to get an idea of like what the reading's going to be about, but I don't want spoilers. I want to react to it at the same time as you, so we're going to get to that at the end of the video. Hopefully I don't forget, because sometimes I forget, but I have it right here just in case. So I've collected myself a little bit, and sometimes I can't tell if I cry during a reading just because I'm channeling the emotion or because I'm just really empathetic. Either way, I'm going to do my best not to break down during your reading because it's these kinds of stories and relationships that really get to me. And so, like I said, I really do think that this is your mother that I'm channeling from because I get a very strong-willed older woman energy. And the thing about mothers is they are very stubborn. They're strong-willed, but they're also, no matter if they show it or not, they care deeply for their children. And I always get that like mama bear energy, like they would trudge through miles of like war for their children. But sometimes it doesn't show in the way that they care for their children. Like their actions, like they would go miles, they would work long, hard days until their hands bleed. But sometimes they can never say, like, I love you. Ooh, wow, okay. I feel like your mom really wants to say I love you. Sorry, I try my best not to cry during readings. I've already said that. But I just channeled like it felt like a concrete wall hit me of emotion. She wants you to know that she didn't always know how to show it because it was never shown to her. There's no manual on how to love somebody. But all she knows is that she loves you. That she would give her life for you, and she has. And I feel like there's so much resentment and sorrow and generational trauma between the two of you that was never talked about, so it was never understood. And I feel like she always felt like she was failing. Like she was always doing the wrong thing or saying the wrong thing, but she didn't know how to do it right. Because nobody ever taught her how to do it right. And all she knew was how to provide. How to work herself like a workhorse to provide for you, but never how to be comforting, how to be caring, how to be like the other parents around you. I don't know exactly what your story is, but in that book that I showed to you at the beginning, On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous, it's the story about a mother who lived a very difficult life in war-torn Vietnam during the American and Vietnamese War, and everything that she went through and how horrible it was. But luckily she was able to come to America and build a better and safer life for her and her son. But you know how the story goes, especially for immigrant parents. There's bills to pay, there's so much stress, there's a lot of racism that makes it hard, and it takes all the parents' energy and attention just to put food on the table, just to keep a roof over their head, and all the things that they're going through, all the things that they wish they would have done. And I feel like at times maybe you've grown up and you thought of yourself as a burden to her. Like, why was I born? Like, maybe you thought she wishes that she never had you. Maybe you thought that you were a mistake because look at all the pain that I'm causing. Look at how difficult her life is. And she wants you to know that that is absolutely not true. Yes, life is difficult and life sucks, but that's just how life is. Life sucks. It's very difficult, especially for people like your mom. But she never, ever would have given you up or traded you for anything in the world. Ever. And so there are some pretty specific messages in here, but like that was straight like channeling. I wasn't even looking at the cards when I said any of that. And I think you can hear in my voice like just how much emotion there is. This emotion, it's not just pain and sorrow, it's pure love that your mom has for you, and she never wants you to doubt how deep that love goes. And it's easy to show that when it's like, you know, I'll walk 1,000,000 miles for you. But when it's like doing the soft stuff, somehow that's so much more difficult because she doesn't know how to do it. But it doesn't mean that she doesn't love you. And it's also not an excuse for things that may have happened in the past, but the biggest thing is if you ever felt unloved, you have to know that that's not true. And so starting off with Unknowing, Wounded Heart, and the Three of Wands reversed. Unknowing, the first card that we have here, right before I do these readings, I kind of practice the intro to myself, and I talk about like what the reading's going to be about, just to like get in my head some ideas of what I'm going to say during the reading. And one of the things that popped in my mind is, the other day I heard this thing, I think it was on TikTok, but it's like, be easy on your parents, it's their first time at life too. And the reason that popped in mind is, you know, I feel like we give adults a lot harder of a time because they should know better, they should know what they're doing, but the truth is, like, you know, I'm only 21, but I'm considered an adult, I guess, barely, but it's like the further life goes on, it's like I still have no idea what I'm doing everything for the first time too, but it's like the older you get, the less leeway you're given. And I feel like something your mom wants you to know, which isn't an excuse, but she wants you to know that it's her first time at life too. She doesn't have all the answers. She doesn't have all the answers to everything. She doesn't know what she's doing. She's just doing it as she goes along. And she makes a lot of mistakes, and she always beats herself up for all the mistakes, whether you see it or not. But everything that she does, when I look at this stairway, it's like everything that she does is to give you a better opportunity, to push herself further, to push you further so that you can have a better opportunity than she was ever given. It's everything that she does. She puts 100% of her effort and her focus into how can I get more money, more stability, more opportunities. And I feel like when you fail at certain things, it's not her being mad at you for being a failure. It's her wanting you to succeed because she's terrified if you don't, if you end up going through the same things that she went through. And when you look around yourself, you're like, well, it's very unlikely that I'd go through exactly what she went through because, like if we're going off the book example, like I told you, the mom went through war and the son was born in America. So no matter what, he's hopefully never going to have to see a war like that. But in her mind, she's still protecting him from going through what she went through. Do you know what I'm trying to say? And it's like everything that she's done because she thought it was going to be best for you, because she thought it's going to give you the best possible life. But even as she's going up these stairs, you have the Three of Wands reversed, and that's all about, like, not knowing what direction you're going in. She was just going. It's like having a horse with blinders on. It doesn't really know all the options. It's just like, okay, just one foot in front of the other. Just don't move backwards. Don't turn backwards. And so that took a lot of focus off of loving you or showing you love in, like, the traditional love languages sort of way. Maybe you always thought that you were a burden because, she doesn't pay attention to me. She's always busy with work. She's always stressed out. She's always yelling about this or that. Everything that she did, even when she was blinded like that, everything was for you. And with wounded heart, she didn't have an easy beginning to life. She was never taught how to properly love. She was a broken heart from the beginning. She's always had this sword in her heart. And when your heart is half full or when your heart is broken, you never fully know how to give your heart to somebody else. And so it's like you have this heart and this sword, and she thought the best way to love you is by protecting you with a sword. Use the sword. Fight, fight, fight. Put in the work. She doesn't know how to put the sword down because she was born with the sword in her heart. But it doesn't mean that she doesn't love you. The biggest thing that I get from her and from this energy is how much she loves you, but how she just doesn't know how to show it. And with wounded heart, I'm especially getting this generational trauma energy where it's just been passed down from her mother and her mother's mother and her mother's mother and their fathers, and there was just so much pain along the way. And I don't know how much you know about your mom's childhood or background, but I don't think that it was an easy one for her in the slightest. And it's like, you don't know how to play the game if nobody's ever taught it to you. You don't know what's right from wrong if you're just going about it trying to figure it out, while also just trying to keep your head above water, trying to keep a roof over the head, trying to protect your family when you don't even know how to do that properly. The sacrifices that need to be made. How is there room to show love in the traditional love language this sort of way if there's barely enough room to think about anything? And so I think you feel very guilty. I imagine that you feel very guilty because you wish that your mom could have lived a better life, that you could have given her a better life, or that maybe if you weren't born, she would have had an easier life. But something that she wants you to know is even if she sacrificed her entire life and never had a good day to herself, she's relieved. You have this relieved card with the Ace of Pentacles reversed. She's relieved that she could give it to you. She would give away every single day of her life if it meant that you could have a good chance at life. With the Ace of Pentacles reversed, that card is all about like lack of opportunity, empty opportunity. But with relieved, it's like she's so relieved she could give it all away just so that you could have it. She will never regret giving it all away. She will never feel down or sorry for herself or I wish I could have had it easier. She feels such gratitude and elation that she can watch you move forward, even if it's without her. Even if she never got to move forward herself. And so don't ever feel like a burden or feel upset with yourself that like, oh, well, what if I was never born? She could have lived a better life. She could have had more money. She could have not had to worry about X, Y, and Z. You are the light of her life. And being able to give you life and give you opportunity is her happiness. Even if it seems so small to you, it's really big to her to see everything that you are able to accomplish and able to do in this life. And with sorrow and change in the Knight of Wands, I think with the Sorrow card, there's a very long line of trauma, familial trauma. But she wants you to know that you are the end of that line, and because of that, she is so proud. Because you have the change card, and it's like for so long, this trauma was passed down, this generational trauma was never changed from parent to child over and over and over again, but she is so proud that in her mind, like, it gets to stop with you. Because at least from, like, a sense of freedom and opportunity, you have the ability to go forward in whatever direction that you want. And maybe she's forced certain ideas on you, like, oh, maybe you need to become a doctor or an engineer, you need to have this kind of job, and maybe you feel like she's disappointed in you for choosing certain things. But her highest, truest self is so proud that you get to go in whatever direction that you desire, that you get to live an unburdened life, or at least as unburdened as possible, because for her, all she could see looking back is all the generations of burden and pain. And the fact that you get to live one where it's possible that you never have to go through that again, and maybe your children will be better off, and their children. Like, yes, there's a lot of sorrow for the past and the things that can't be undone, but you are the change that makes it all worth it. And so finally, this is a final card of advice, and like I said, I have no idea what this card is about. I've not read all the cards. I don't know if I've even ever gotten this card before. But it's just a message from your mom to you, her highest self, just a piece of advice. And it could be about anything. It could be what you're going through right now, whether she knows about it or not. Her highest self knows, because, the highest self sees all. So even if it's about something you're going through right now that maybe you haven't told your mom about, this is what the piece of advice that she would give you. So it's number 37, Get Out of Your Head. And the title is called Chicken Head, which I think is really funny, because it's like, I don't know, maybe it's like, when somebody's like fearful and you call them a chicken, it's like, I feel like if your mom called you a chicken, it's her way of like toughening you up. But maybe you'd see that as like, oh, she's always picking on me, she's being like rude or mean to me, but it's like, she's playfully calling you a chicken. Like, come on, toughen up. Okay. When you cut off a chicken's head, a burst of electricity runs through its body's nervous system, causing the chicken to run in circles and flap its wings. This is symbolic of the intrusive and obsessive thoughts we think and allow to run in circles around us, even though they rarely hold any real basis in truth. Chicken head's medicine appears when it's time to put an end to the chicken in your head dictating your life. Witness the thought and understand you have power over it. Your power is to know it's just a thought, and if it minimizes you, it's not true no matter how real it may feel. If it makes you feel less than powerless, then there is no way it's true, because you are quite literally a scientific miracle connected to the infinite, ever-expanding universe. Chickenhead's medicine asks you to take a big sigh of relief, because whatever is currently keeping you in your head will work itself out. You are safe, and you will find the solution, and the issue will resolve itself. Whatever you're currently dealing with is for your greater good, no matter how much the chicken tells you it's not. In fact, Chickenhead's medicine brings an exciting confirmation. If you're dealing with a current situation that feels disappointing and has you obsessively thinking about it, you're being asked to understand that this difficulty has had to happen to lead you to what you truly want. For whatever reason, there is a lesson being learned, and in learning this lesson, you will lead yourself to what your heart desires. Chickenhead's medicine demands you get out of your head now, because everything is going to work out. So pile 1, that is everything that I have for you. This reading was a bit all over the place, so I'm definitely going to need some decompression after, but I think that it was a really beautiful message to get out, and so I really hope that this found you, if this message was for you. I hope that it resonated, and go tell your mom you love her. Even if she doesn't necessarily know how to respond to that, or she's like, why are you saying this? Get back to work. I don't know. I don't know how she would respond, but, I don't know. You do you. But anyways, pile 1, that is everything that I have for you. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye. Pile 2. I've been staring at your reading for a long time now, and it finally hit me what it was about, and I want to say, obviously this entire video is very sensitive topics, but yours especially is a very sensitive topic, and if this doesn't feel like you, don't try to force it to resonate, because I think that this is for a very select audience, maybe even just one person out there. And I also just want to give a warning that if you're not prepared to hear very hard messages or very emotionally taxing messages, that it might be best to put this reading away for a while, because I already bawled my eyes out during pile 1's reading, and so I have no idea what to expect from this one. And this message is not something that I'm used to, because I'm getting this message from somebody who has passed away. Which is very weird for me to say, because I don't do those kinds of readings, but it's what's coming through very strongly for me in your reading. And so I'm going to do my best to do it justice. And so, yeah, well, I guess we can just go ahead and get into it. I feel like I'm channeling from a father who has passed away. And in whatever form you like to believe in, he is watching over you. And I feel like you're somebody who, maybe you live with your mother, and maybe you have a very emotionally taxing relationship with your mother. Something that is coming to mind is the movie Lady Bird, I think, with Saoirse Ronan. I think that's her name. I've never seen that movie, but it's coming to mind for some reason, because I feel like that might be similar to the relationship that you have with your mom. I honestly feel like I need to watch it afterwards so I understand what I'm saying here. But the thing that it was giving is hard for me to understand here is I came into this reading expecting very hard messages, like messages of like forgiveness and pain, and like this is what I would tell you if I was honestly there, but these messages feel like they're coming from a parent who's only ever purely loved you. And I feel like they left you too soon. Or, well, in my beliefs, everything happens exactly when it's meant to. So whatever you like to believe, but I feel like this is somebody who passed away when you were young, and you were left with your mother, and I feel like you don't have the best relationship with your mother, but the reason I bring this up is one of the messages here is forgive and the Queen of Pentacles. And all the queens, and especially the Queen of Pentacles, I'll say actually the Queen of Pentacles is the most motherly card out of all of them, aside from the Empress. I think that's what the card is called. And so I feel like you're getting a message here. Sorry, this is all over the place. I'm not really going in order, but the first message that we have here is forgive your mother. Try to make peace with your mother. And I feel like your dad wants you to know that she's a hard woman to deal with, but she's just doing the best that she knows how. And it doesn't make it right, but she's family. And everybody is only here for so long. And yes, it's true that your mom has her own ego to deal with, and maybe she'll let go of it, maybe she won't. Maybe she's always going to be the way that she is. Maybe you're always going to have your disagreements. Maybe you're always going to feel burned by her, or like she doesn't understand you. But you only have one mom. And you don't have to accept it and take it and roll over, but you do need to ask yourself, do you want to go the rest of your life not having both of them? Which, this is not coming from me. These are the words that I'm channeling, so I'm sorry if it sounds very harsh, but it's like, it's some tough love. It's like you need to ask yourself that question. Because it's a true question. It's a deep question, and I don't know why that one had to come out first, but I think it's a very important one that you hear, because I feel like he wants you two to have each other, because you two are the most important women in his life. And you guys only have each other. So that's what he wants you to know. I do my best not to cry on camera. For pile 1, it kind of had to happen, because it was like getting hit with a concrete wall of emotion. But for you, I'm going to do my best to be as level-headed as possible. But I will say that there was a little bit of that, like, man emotion where it's like they don't really let themselves cry in front of you, but they're gonna their voice is gonna get a little rough as they say these things, and they have their hand on your shoulder, and it's like, they look you in the eye and they're like, listen, kid. Like, that's the kind of energy that I got from him. So starting off at the beginning, you have Joy and the Hermit. The Hermit is what first led me to believe that this is a parent that has passed on, because the Hermit is the card of, like, loneliness and being alone, being on your own journey. I think your dad wants you to know that even though he passed on, and even though you're seemingly alone on this journey, you're this lone person on this journey, you're never truly alone. Because when I look at the Hermit card, yes, he's alone and he's wearing these dark clothes and everything around him is dark and it's nighttime, but the one thing that he has guiding him is this star in his lantern. And you actually have this star appearing a lot here. And I feel like what that's trying to tell here is one of, if not the most prominent spirit guide that you have, if you believe in spirit guides or angels or whatever, is your father. I think he is looking out for you. He is looking down on you, and he's very proud of you. And no matter where you go in life, he's there with you. You know, even if you feel alone, even if you feel like there is nobody out there that understands you, he's rooting for you. And with Joy, I feel like everything that he tried to do for you while he was here was give you the happiest possible childhood, gave you the most love that he could. And I feel like when he passed on, you felt like it was empty. Like, I'll try to explain what I mean by this. So you see this Joy card. You see how it's open and it's being poured out. I feel like now that he's gone, that love and that relationship with your father is no longer there. But he wants you to know even death could not take away the love that he has for you. And even though it's no longer in this bottle, even though it's dumped out, the joy is still there. Maybe it's in a puddle now. Maybe he's not there. But that love will never leave. Even if the bottle is broken, even if the bottle is thrown away, that love cannot be destroyed. It's always there with you, even when you're alone. And I feel like there's some specific, I got these 2 cards, and this was before I realized that this was about a parent that had passed on. And I was like, 2 cards, like that's a lot to read through. I try to just do 1, but for some reason I decided to keep it. And these cards are supposed to be advice cards. Advice that your parent would give you if they were honest and truthful with you right now. And I think it's good that I actually kept both of them, because if this really is a parent that has passed on, I want to give you as many messages from them as possible, especially advice, especially fatherly advice if he's no longer here to give it to you. And there's even more advice right here. And you have fear of abundance, intuition, and strength reversed. I feel like your dad looks at you and he's very proud of you, and he sees just how much you can accomplish if you believe in yourself. But he sees how much you lack confidence, how much you lack self-empowerment, how much you lack belief in yourself and the ability to pursue things that you want and things that you desire. If there's an idea that you have and you tell yourself like, oh, it's too outlandish or it's not realistic, it's denying your heart. It's denying what you truly want out of life. If you keep turning yourself down, you're not living truthfully. And I think something that he would encourage you to do if he was right there with you is follow your heart. Follow the things that you love. Don't listen to that voice inside you that is fearful and tries to keep you down and tries to keep you from accomplishing what you're trying to accomplish. You are capable of so much. And with fear of abundance, I think that there's also some issues that you're going to need to work on yourself that he recognizes as, like, whether you realize it or not, I feel like you don't deserve as much as you deserve. Does that make sense? Like, it's, if somebody gives you a bunch, it's like, oh, that's too much. I don't need all that. And it's like, no, you deserve all the abundance. You deserve all of it. Don't discount yourself. I feel like maybe you're somebody who deals with a lot of imposter syndrome or a lot of lack of belief in yourself, but you need to know he wants you to know you're an incredibly talented individual. You're so incredibly talented. And you deserve everything. You deserve the ability to go after what you desire, not live some life because people tell you to live it. Live the life that you want to live. Don't be afraid of things. I feel like maybe your dad wasn't the best with words or like big words, because for some reason I feel like my vocabulary is being limited, but it's like he's trying to convey this message to you, like you deserve so much, and more than he could ever put into words. But the biggest thing that you need to work on is this lack of belief in yourself, lack of confidence, lack of self-empowerment, lack of believing that you deserve good things. And so I want to get into these two advice cards that we have here for you. We have number 21, perception, and number 29, breakthrough. So I'm going to go ahead and read these to you. And I haven't read these yet. I'm sure I've read perception before, a while ago, but I don't know if I've ever read breakthrough, so I don't know what to expect for that one. But this is advice from him to you, something that he would like to tell you about whatever it is that you're currently going through. So, number 21, perception, the ostrich. Ostrich speaks to us about perception. The image of burying one's head in the ground conjures a feeling of the inability to face a wider perspective. To be fair, the ostrich burrows its head in the ground not to hide, but to rotate her eggs. When this card comes to you in a reading, however, it is the symbolism of burying one's head in the ground that we are meditating upon. Studies have been conducted to show that a hill will spatially be perceived as steeper when a person is feeling sad. Our emotion literally shapes our perception. We do not see life objectively. Instead, the way we see our physical reality is influenced by our internal emotional experience. When a situation reminds your subconscious of an uncomfortable memory, your subconscious will start to shape what you see through the lens of that past experience. Ostrich asks you to look at your current situation and recognize what perceptions you may be projecting onto it. One way to begin to shift your perception is to own that your understanding is never fully accurate. Instead of drowning in uncomfortable feelings, step back and understand that your emotions do not dictate ultimate truth. Realize the control you have over your thoughts about a situation. This control is strengthened the more you become cognitively aware of your perception by questioning it. Start to notice the autopilot chatter in your mind. Listen to how it belittles you and other people around you. As the Buddhist meditation teacher and psychologist Tara Brach teaches, the primitive brain continuously hijacks our ability to be present in the moment. The thoughts are real, but rarely do they hold any validity. Tell yourself, don't believe the thoughts, over and over again. This not only snaps you out of the autopilot zombie mind, but also starts to reprogram your brain to put you in charge of your perception. Ostrich's medicine asks you to consistently practice this awareness, and you will transition from being a victim of your thoughts to becoming a master of your perception. So, sorry I was like jumbling over my words a bit there, but now we're going to get into number 29. Breakthrough. Lizard brain, which I think is very funny. I like to use the term lizard brain a lot. Okay. The medicine of this card comes through when you are about to level up and have an amazing breakthrough, but you must be made aware that your lizard brain may attempt to self-sabotage. The eye-opening in this image is likened to a seed ripping open to become self-realized. The reptile head on the bottom of the card represents our unconscious reptilian brain, the limbic system. This part of our brain represents fear, flight, fight, addictions, and other emotional behaviors. It hates change and thinks it can keep you safe by pulling you back from taking important risks that can lead to great success. Listen to this one, because this is basically what I was telling you about here. The lizard brain will drown you in fear of potential failure and tell you to stay in the job or relationship that makes you miserable because there is a strange safety in the familiarity of what you know. Hey, at least you know it's horrible, so that's safe, right? Wrong. This is just some of the garbage logic of the lizard brain, the master of self-sabotage. This card is about surpassing the prehistoric programming of our beliefs and behaviors to evolve into who we know we can be. The art of your breakthrough is the determined effort to constantly question your perception. Take a moment to analyze a current obstacle or moment of resistance you are dealing with. This obstacle is a golden nugget moment to challenge your perception. Examine the story in your mind's eye. even being aware that you just got hijacked by lizard brain doesn't necessarily dispel all the worry running through your body. At this moment, you may have to just move forward while still feeling fear and not believing fully in yourself. But the action of going forward is what will lead to the critical breakthrough. So, pile 2, that is everything that I have for you. I really, really hope that this resonated. I really hope it found everybody that needed to find it. And I think the biggest message that you need to hear is your dad still loves you very much. And he's always there with you, even if it doesn't seem like it, even if it's beyond your understanding of this world or the next. He's always there with you. And he wants you to forgive your mother and believe in yourself, because you are an amazing, beautiful, strong person who deserves all the good that life can offer you, and not just what your lizard brain is telling you. So, pile 2, I'm going to leave you with that. That is everything that I have for you. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye. Okay, pile 3, last but certainly not least. I'm getting a very specific message for you, and the previous 2 piles have also been very specific. So if this doesn't resonate with you, it could just be that this reading isn't meant for you, which is okay. But I don't want anybody to force a message that isn't meant for them. And I'm not the most comfortable doing these kinds of readings because it's not something that I'm used to, but it's the message that's coming through, and therefore I have to be honest and truthful about it. And so if this isn't something that you're prepared to hear, if you're not prepared to deal with strong emotions at the moment, it might be best to put this video off till later. But the message that is coming through is that I am channeling from a parent. Specifically, I'm getting mother energy who has passed on, somebody who has passed away. And I specifically get the energy that you are the eldest son, which is interesting because typically the highest viewer percentage is usually women. But I really get the sense that this reading is for a son. Specifically like eldest, or if you're not the eldest, somebody who you feel like you have a lot of pressure on you to take care of the family, to take care of siblings, and really make it in a world where you don't know what you're doing because, you know, she knew what she was doing. And without her, you don't know where you are, you don't know what to do. And so these messages, first of all, she wants you to know that she loves you so much. And her love is still with you no matter where she is. You know, no matter what you believe in about people who have passed on or what your religion is. Something that can never be taken away is her love for you. And it seems like a very pure and caring love. I think she's somebody that, maybe she passed away when you were quite younger, but she's somebody that you never had a lot of issues with. You know, I went into these readings thinking that I was, you know, mostly going to heal like past trauma, generational trauma, and the first reading definitely did that. The second reading did that a little bit, but I get the sense that your mother was somebody that you had the word perfect came to mind. I know no relationship is perfect, but it feels like you two had a perfect relationship. And that's what made her passing on even harder for you. But literally the first card that came out is at peace. So the biggest thing that she wants you to know is she's not suffering, she's not in pain, she's perfectly at peace, but she sees that you're not. And she doesn't want that for you. She wants you to go, even if she couldn't go through life with you, even if she couldn't be there to hold your hand, she wants you to live your life to the fullest potential and still have the best possible life that you can, knowing that you are, I don't know what you believe. You know, I don't believe in the traditional heaven, but I do believe that after death, our souls do find each other again. And, you know, Lord knows what I'm channeling from right now, whether it's a spirit or a ghost or... All I know is that her energy here is still with you, still watching over you, and she is at peace, and she wants you to be at peace as well. But I can see very clearly in your cards that you're not. And I actually forgot to cover up the devil, so hopefully this doesn't get demonetized. because YouTube doesn't like nudity. But you have a lot of cards here that tell me that you're really suffering. That I don't know if you've ever fully moved on from her passing. And I feel like it left in its wake a lot of pain, a lot of turmoil, a lot of family issues, a lot of stresses. I mean, I, thank God, still have both my parents. I don't know what I would do if one of them passed away, but even when they go away on long trips, like when my mom goes away on long work trips, she's not there to tell me, like, oh, put your shoes away. And so, I don't know why I'm crying right now. But it's like I can't bear to leave my shoes out because I know that there's nobody there to tell me to put my shoes away. And I know that she's still alive. She's just in Philadelphia. But it's that kind of feeling, like you can't bear to face the fact that they're not there with you anymore. You don't know how to go through life without them telling you to put your shoes away. And I feel like her passing has caused you a lot of turmoil and pain that has reverberated throughout your entire family. And it's like you barely know how to pick up yourself, let alone pick up the pieces of your family, let alone keep everything together. And it feels like, have you ever been in a house where all the shutters are closed and it's just completely dark even though it's during the day? It just has that eerie kind of bad vibe energy. I feel like that's what happened to you and your family after she passed away. The light was never let back in. And it's like nobody ever fully moved on. Maybe your dad, if you have a dad, is, a shell of himself. Maybe your siblings are acting out. And she was that grounding force, and she's not there anymore. And it's true that, she's not physically there to help you and tell you to put your shoes away. But her love is never gonna leave you. And, no matter what you believe in, I believe that she's watching over you. She's looking down on you, and she wants you to succeed in life. And she's so proud of you. Even if you might look at yourself and you're like, how could you be proud of me? I'm barely holding it together. She's proud that you're even still trying. Maybe you've told yourself that you've given up. But just the fact that you're still here, you're still worrying, you haven't fully given up. And with this Four of Swords here, this is the card that makes me feel like you want to give up. You just want to lay down and never get back up again. But this wishes fulfilled card, I think it's really interesting that you have these two cards standing here together. You have one that still has its human body with its sun head, and then you have the other that no longer has its human body. It's still the sun, but now it's over the rainbow. And it's literally what you say when pets pass away, is they cross the rainbow bridge. And I think it's funny that, maybe the body is gone, but the sun, the soul, is still there. It's over the rainbow. It's just watching over you now. And you have this body, but, the body is made up of stars. And that makes me believe, this is just a physical thing. It's just a temporary thing. And this is getting more into, spiritual belief. So I apologize if you don't believe that. But what I'm seeing here in the cards is just because she's no longer here in the physical realm, she no longer has a physical body here to inhabit, doesn't mean that she's gone. She's just over the rainbow. And she wants more than anything for you to, with this optimistic card, this optimism card. She wants you to be optimistic about the future. She wants you to still have a reason to live outside of her. It feels like sometimes when the people that we love the most pass on, our reason for living goes away as well. But she wants you to live. She wants you to love, to find people to love, to find friends and new experiences and build a family of your own and live this life that you have to the fullest. Because your life isn't over. You've still got years to live out, experiences to be had. And it's easy to just roll over and not want to continue on, but she wants you to continue on. Because she wants to watch from above and see everything that you can accomplish, to see everything that she knows you can be. And I feel like you feel like if she looked down on you and saw the person you are right now, that she would be disappointed, but that's not true. She could never be disappointed in you. She could be sad for you, sad that you're unhappy, sad that you hate yourself and you hate life, and sad that you're stressed out and in pain, but she could never feel disappointed in you. Only ever sad. And I feel like being able to see you, even from across the rainbow bridge or whatever you want to call it, being able to see you go through life and find love and experiences, even if she's just watching from afar, that is her wish fulfillment. And then you have some pieces of advice here, which I'm still covering up the devil, which maybe that's going to make a difference, maybe not, because I already showed it to YouTube, but you have the Overwhelmed card, the Two of Pentacles, and the Devil card. And I feel like this is a piece of advice for you, because I feel a lot of boy energy in your family. Like maybe you have younger siblings who are boys. Your father, if you have a father, is a boy. I get a boy energy from you. And I don't necessarily believe in gender roles as like something that's biologically within us, but I know that a lot of people do inhabit those roles. And the role of the mother traditionally is the homemaker, the comforter. The dad brings in the money and provides or whatever. And I feel like that's something that your family kind of subscribed to. At least like that's what they did. And without the homemaker, your house and your family hasn't felt like a home. It hasn't felt like a proper family. It's like all the boys are there, but it's like, who's taking care of the home? I'm not saying boys can't take care of the home, but it's like nobody really knew how to properly do it. Or it's like even if you tried, it's not the same way that she did it. Nobody's telling you to put your shoes away. And with the Overwhelmed card, I feel like you've been so overwhelmed with life afterwards. You don't know how to go through life without her, dealing with your family and everything that got left in the wake of her passing. Everything kind of fell apart. The direction in life for your siblings and yourself is uncertain because there was this huge trauma, and you're like, what do I do if I don't have you to tell me what to do? And so it's just very overwhelming. You're juggling a lot of things, with the Two of Pentacles. And with the Devil card, the devil has to do with addictions. It has to do with feeling like we are trapped. But something I want to tell you about the Devil card, which obviously I'm not showing it to you right now, but in the Devil card, the devil has these two people, this man and this woman, trapped by chains around their necks. But the thing about the card is the chains are not so tight that they couldn't leave. The thing that keeps them trapped is their weakness, is their addictions, is their desires. They could choose to take the chain off of their neck any time. The chain is only symbolic of the power that pain has over us. And so if you've fallen into any addictions, if you've fallen into this state of disrepair where you're like, I'm never going to be able to get up again, I'm never going to be able to succeed, I don't know how to go through life without her, I don't know how to do anything, my family has failed forever, it's never too late to make a change. And this idea that you've put over yourself that you're not able to go forward is absolutely not true. All you have to do is decide that you want to do better. Decide that you want to make a change. Decide that, you're never going to move on. With grief, you don't move on. It's always there. My grandpa passed away when I was really young. And, my dad doesn't talk about it often, but life moves forward, and it's hard at first, but as the years go by, it turns into you have a drink on his birthday in his memory. Maybe you get a little choked up here and there, but you find a way to keep going. And for you, I feel like you've told yourself that you can't keep going, that you're stuck. You're never going to be able to move on. Things will never be the same. It's true, things will never be the same. But that doesn't mean that they have to be bad forever. You still have the ability to succeed, and trust me when I say that she's watching over you and she wants you to succeed. Alright, so we've gotten to the end, and I have 2 final cards for you. And these are just pieces of advice that she would give to you if she was here right now. And it's just pieces of advice on, things that you may be dealing with right now, pain that you might be dealing with right now, issues going on in your life that, if you could call her up and ask for advice, what would she tell you? And you have number 41, unknown gift, and number 22, no expectations. And I'm going to go ahead and read to you from the guidebook. And, in pile 1, I did really well at reading aloud, but in pile 2, I was kind of like stuttering and all over the place. So hopefully I'm doing better this time. But we're going to start with number 41, unknown gift, Nightingale of Paradise. The Nightingale card comes when you have a profound gift that you are not currently aware of. A great endurance of difficulties leads you to unveiling the diamond within. This card is a gem to receive. Feel honored. There is no other card that foretells such a bounty. This gift is beyond your wildest dreams, and you possess it. Your gift is something that every cell in your body yearns to self-actualize. It is one of your most exciting and fulfilling purposes. I'm going to pause right here because when I was getting this card out, specifically this one with the bird on it, I think that is one of the cards specifically, aside from At Peace, that gave me that motherly energy. And I don't know if you're one of those people that, when somebody passes on, animals feel like a sign, like it's them coming in to say hi. But this bird has been standing out to me this entire time, and I haven't really said anything about it, but it could be, and I don't know if you believe in this, but whenever you see a little white dove or little white birds, it could be her, and I don't want to force that belief on you, but it definitely feels like it has her energy, this kind of pure, loving, when I think of a bird, they're great parents, they build that comforting, warm nest for their young, and they're just, to me, they have that mother energy in them. So, anyways. This card is not about fixing anything, or giving you the perfect solution or guidance to a current obstacle. You receive the honor of this card when grace allows you a small knowing that there is an as yet undiscovered talent within. It may take months or years to reveal this gift, but it is there, and it will come to you as clear as the noonday sun, something your truest self has always longed to actualize. The Nightingale's medicine has a special message for you. You are being asked to endure time and uncertainty, for you are still in the night season, little one. Soon you will understand, and you will be able to share your gift with the world. But you must wait, as there is a reason that your gift's greatness needs time to actualize in the material realm. Beyond this, it is too mysterious to explain. Please be patient. A reality of yourself beyond your current depth of awareness awaits you. Keep the faith. You have no idea how much the wait will be worth it. Get excited for the immensity of this gift within. It's big. Very big. So I don't usually add on to those things because I want to just leave you with the message itself and the meaning that it has for you. But now we're going to move on to number 22, No Expectations, Black Panther. Black Panther represents walking into the dark and exploring the feminine power of allowing development to come from the unknown. Walking into the unknown with no expectations is the key that will open the door to your success. The no expectations medicine of this card strongly advises you not to limit yourself with ideas about how anything will unfold. Life is planning something more delicious than you can currently understand. Something profound is on the horizon for you. Trust life without needing to be the dictator of how and when your manifestation will blossom into fruition. Intense expectations will only inhibit the ability of what is more extraordinary to develop. Take the risk for what you desire without the desperate need to control how it will unfold. A situation you perceive as a failure today may be what leads you to unfathomable success in 3 years. This is why an expectation of how you think things should work is futile. Understand that whatever occurs in your life is meant for your growth. Our misguided steps and our mistakes are our greatest teachers. Taking risks allows divine opportunities to present themselves. Take note, if you are met with continuous resistance and rigid expectation, this is a universal sign that another direction is more beneficial. So take a step back and allow the path of least resistance to be revealed. This is not to say you should give up immediately, but it does warn that you may be unaligned with the flow. It may also be a signal that you just need to wait a bit longer. Black Panther is the queen of facing fears and taking risks to achieve her heart's desires. If you are questioning whether to go forward with an idea that feels totally uncertain, Black Panther's medicine asks you to go for it. Do not seek immediate gratification. Remember, the result may take time to unravel, but taking the risk to do what is best for you will always yield positive results. So, pile 3, that is everything that I have for you. I think that those were some great pieces of advice to leave off on, and so I'm going to leave you there. I really hope that this found you when you needed the most. I really hope that it resonated and it was everything that you needed it to be. But yeah, that is everything that I have for you. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.